Hi, I'm Mark Jewell, and welcome to Learning to Sell Efficiency Effectively in Residential Settings. In today's course, we're going to talk about a variety of topics, not the least of which is going to be the guiding principles that will inform how you approach residential selling. Energy efficiency products, services, and programs all require effective selling. And professional sales skills really make you more successful at advancing any energy efficiency initiative, regardless of your role in the process. And you really need to think of yourself as a sales professional, even if your job title does not include the word sales. Now, what I've seen in the residential efficiency solutions market is a lot of really well-intentioned efficiency solutions building technologists. I've seen a lot of people who may not really feel comfortable embracing their inner sales professional. Some people even think that selling is dirty, that sell is a four-letter word. But the fact of the matter is, everybody in an organization, whether they be business development or customer service or technical roles, they all have to embrace their inner sales professional, okay? So some people dream of success while others wake up and work hard at it. And so the first attack I'd like to take in this presentation is to ask you some questions for internal reflection. The first is, did you intentionally choose sales as a career? A lot of people didn't. In fact, there was a book called The Accidental Salesperson. And I think that title really explains a lot of behaviors that are out there, especially among people who started as a technologist, really got attracted to this whole process of energy efficiency in homes for a socially conscious reason. Bottom line is, many people who are actually in selling roles never really chose sales as a career. But the people who did choose sales, I've taught this course and ones like it across the world to thousands of people. And whenever I ask this question, I get a variety of answers. A lot of people say because they like to help people. Some people say because they like to make the money. There is no limit on salary because they can make their own incomes with limitless commissions. Some people say they like meeting a lot of people, inside, outside sales regardless. They like interacting with lots of people. Some people say they like problem solving. But I guess the first question you have to ask yourself is, assuming that you are in sales, are you in an active sales role or a passive sales role? Either way, it pays to embrace professional selling skills, and either way, this course will help you. Let's talk about the topic of whether or not you've actually had genuine sales training and from where. There's certainly no shortage of training courses out there. Miller Hyman, Dale Carnegie, Sandler, spin selling. There are lots of other names that are maybe less famous, but almost equally ubiquitous out there. Lots of regional, local trainers as well. The real question is, has the sales training that you've received been product knowledge training, or has it been really focused on selling? One of the things my wife and I, who's my partner, we realized a long time ago, several years ago when we decided to start the Efficiency Sales Professional Institute, is that sales is the second hardest job to hire for in the United States today, right behind skilled trades. And yet, no American college university has a fully credentialed program on selling. Some have sales management, a lot of them have marketing, some have marketing with a smidgen of sales put in maybe 1 or 2 or 3 course units, but no one really is educating this country's population to fill this critical need, which actually the lack thereof is causing a break on the gross domestic product. That means that you're really leaving it up to yourself to determine how you're going to learn how to sell. So then you have to ask yourself a question, assuming that I realize that, if you ask yourself this question, assuming I realize that I need to train myself in sales, what kind of sales materials do I regularly read? Now that implies that you're regularly reading sales materials. Now typically if I ask people in this industry, are you focused on professional development, what kinds of materials do you read? They'll mention things like Home Energy Magazine, which is a fine publication, and other magazines that are technically oriented. But they won't necessarily say, I'm reading sales material. And of course, if they're not reading sales material, they're not feeding their brain drip irrigation content reinforcement to allow them to become masters of their trade in selling. So another question I'd like you to think about for a moment is what you consider to be the 5 most important characteristics of a great salesperson. Because I think thinking about that really informs what kind of a person you want to become. And a lot of people are not that introspective. They just go out there and they get it done every day. Or they go out there and reluctantly interface with customers even though they really don't like rejection, or they really don't like picking up the phone and smiling and dialing. They really don't like meeting people. They're really much more comfortable behind a computer doing simulations or in an attic or a basement, taking measurements and taking readings and blower door tests and things like that. But ultimately, when you look at, in your own experience, whom you've admired as being a truly great salesperson, I think there's a lot of inspiration that can come from that. To say, well, wait a second, that I'd really admired when I was a consumer. I wonder if I can get more of that quality in my selling behavior. So we'll talk about more about that in a couple of minutes.